up? Welcome back to Will Says. My name is Will and I'm going to be saying some stuff today. So let's go on a journey. So today we're going to be talking about Sailor Moon and the KBS dub. And for those of you who may not know, KBS stands for Korean Broadcasting System. That's right. Today we're going to be talking about the infamous mid-90s Sailor Moon Korean dub. Can you actually see the shirt? I'm wearing a Sailor Moon shirt. Let me know also if you like this new set. I wanted to do something different because I was kind of getting bored of having the same background, but I might go back to that one because the setup was actually so much easier. But I feel like before we start talking about that, we kind of have to go back and talk a little bit about history. History lesson. No. All right. So for historical context, censorship of Japanese media in Korea started right after the end of World War II. Japan's decade-long colonialist occupation over Korea was now over, and Korea wanted to move forward. The Japanese colonialism and occupation of Korea, which began in 1910, lasted until 1945. During this time, any Korean culture was suppressed, and Koreans had to adapt to Japanese culture and language. Now, in 1945, after the end of Japanese control, the South Korean government passed laws to punish anti-national deeds. So the wording on the laws didn't actually specify any country, but they were applied disproportionately against Japan. This completely restricted access to all Japanese films, manga, anime, music, and games. Of course, people are going to try to work around and try to make money and try to access things that may be seen as forbidden. So Korean companies found ways. They would import the American version of Japanese games and consoles. The Nintendo Entertainment System, or Family Computer, Famicom as it is known in Japan, was rebranded as the Hyundai Computer Boy in Korea. While also, Japanese recording companies would send over their master tapes to have the songs re-recorded by Korean artists. This led to many Japanese pop acts having a Korean fan base, but Koreans had never heard the actual original song in its original language due to the ban. Now, it is 1998, and this is when the ban actually ended. The Japanese and the Korean government reached an agreement in 1998, and the Japanese government formally apologized for the colonial rule in a joint declaration that they had. The ban was lifted by former South Korean President Kim Dae-jung, citing that it would be a stimulus to society and it would help further develop Korean culture. So in 1998, it was anime time. Only all ages media was allowed in 1998, which meant a lot of anime was banned or heavily censored. Hugely popular anime like Pokemon, for example, debuted in South Korea in 1999. Even though the Pokemon anime premiered in 1999, none of the video games were actually licensed. They were actually licensed much later on. Other anime, like Sailor Moon, aired in Korean television, but it was heavily censored and modified. The original Korean television dub, the KBS dub, that aired from 1997 to 1998, only 163 of the 200 episodes of Sailor Moon were ever aired. All signs of Japanese culture were completely avoided and erased. And they actually just left it blank. They didn't actually even put any kind of Korean writing or change it to English or anything else. They just left it completely blank. All scenes with the Hikawa shrine were removed, and any time that Rei referred to the shrine, it was now changed to the cathedral, because that makes so much sense. It kind of reminds me of Pokemon in the US back when they changed the onigiri to jelly-filled donuts. It is giving me that same vibe. Also, the Japanese writing on Rei's Ofuda, her paper talisman, was also altered so the Japanese writing would be ineligible. And all scenes of Rei praying to the fire were also cut. I am assuming that that had to do with the Shinto religion, and Korea wanted to have nothing to do with that. Also, names of characters were changed to not sound Japanese. For example, get ready for this. Usagi became Sarah, Ami became Juri, Rei became Vicky, Makoto became Lita, and Minako became Mina. Characters' ages were also changed from 14 to 17, making them high school students at the start of the first season. Transformation sequences changed to uphold the characters' modesty. Check out these edited transformation sequences alongside the original Japanese ones, and let me know if you can spot the difference. Some of the best parts were cut out, and I get it. They did it to uphold modesty. and the Sailor Starlight's civilian forms were changed to female. Now, their clothing was also edited to cover their midriffs. Sailor Moon's lack of clothing in the last episode was also covered by a white dress or white slip, and the Amazon Quartet's outfits also were censored. They had black cover-ups added to not expose as much skin as they did in the original Japanese anime. Soy Sight remained male, but the romance scenes with Kunsight were removed or edited. Also, romantic scenes featuring Haruka and Michiru were also removed or edited. And by the way, the Outer Scouts' names were also changed like every other character. The Outer Scouts' names were actually changed too. We had Haruka became Terry, Michiru became Monica, Setsuna became Isabel, and Hotaru became Coco. Moonlight Legend was used as the theme song for all seasons, including Sailor Stars. Now, all insert songs in the episode were removed with no replacement or replaced with Korean versions. Any scenes with kissing were removed completely except for the kiss on the last episode of the show. And also, 37 episodes were removed from the dub, causing major plot holes which left fans confused and bewildered. Now, does that sound familiar? Now, after Sailor Moon S aired, the show went on an extended hiatus, as the broadcaster felt that Super S was unsuitable content, but after many complaints, they aired the season with the Amazon trio completely removed, mainly because they were, and Korea wanted none of that. And after that messy dub came the next dub over a decade later. That's right, the KBS dub was such a mess, and another dub didn't actually come to Korea until the 2010s, which actually brings us to our next dub. I have to read this. The Daewon Broadcasting dub, which aired from 2012 to 2016. Now this one, they aired all 200 episodes for the first time, and there was not as much censoring this time, but there was still a lot of changes made. For example, Japanese words that were shown in the anime were now translated to Korean and not left blank like in the KBS dub. The Sailor Starlights, their civilian forms were still male, but the lines referring to them being male were removed, and their transformations were now censored. Usagi's lack of clothing in the final episode was now covered by white light, which I guess looks a little bit more iconic than a white slip. So we're gonna give them a pass, I guess. And actually, doing some research, I found out that the very first ever Korean dub of Sailor Moon was actually released straight to VHS. And it was actually with the same company who did the dubbing back in 2012 to 2016. So the Daewon VHS dub, the Korean title was Lunar Fairy Sailor Moon. Only the first season was ever released, and it was all released on VHS in 1994. Now, let's jump ahead a little bit to Sailor Moon Crystal, which I know a lot of fans may not love it, but it's still part of the whole franchise. Sailor Moon Crystal from 2013, all episodes were aired, and the characters' names were left alone. So Usagi was actually Usagi now. There was still some heavy censoring. Opening sequence for season 3 were changed. For example, Hotaru and Chibiusa's scene was altered, and Usagi's transformation into Neo Queen Serenity was also changed for the same reason. So even with all of the censorship and all of the changes, Sailor Moon was still such a popular anime in Korea, with merchandise and toys being sold widely, as well as having a big fan base in the country. And also, Sailor Moon became a cultural icon, with the anime's influence seeping into other aspects of Korean culture and Korean pop culture, inspiring Korean singers and manga artists. As of 2018, there are still a few laws outlawing some airing of some Japanese media. For example, the film Hetalia equals Access Powers, I've never heard of that before, is still banned in Korea due to an inclusion of a character named Korea, with the government labeling the film a national crime. I don't know if I want to see this now. There is still a lot of censorship in South Korea, even with Korean-made media. Anything deemed harmful or subversive by the government is censored. K-pop music videos are often edited or not allowed to play on television at all, which in recent years have become a badge of honor or seen as cool by the younger generations. And with that, we have come to the end of today's video. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Korean KBS dub, but also let me know if there were other Sailor Moon dubs besides the Korean and the American one that were completely changed, altered, or censored. I find it amazing that Sailor Moon has been butchered so many times in so many different countries. Scenes have been taken out, episodes have been completely lost. Also, characters, relationships have been edited, modified, or taken out completely. Sailor Moon perseveres and is still such a popular anime all over the world. Alright, that is it for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed this type of content from me. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see some more content like this from me. I really enjoy doing this type of research, so please get a little hit, like, subscribe, share, and do all of those things that will help the algorithm see me. I love this new Sailor Moon shirt. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Bam, 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 bam. And I will catch you next time. Bye. We got some. Oh, my leg's falling asleep.